Sergio Perez will be racing with Red Bull till the end of the 2024 season. Announced this week by Red Bull Racing, perhaps a little bit earlier than they intended, after Sergio was caught saying this after his Monaco Grand Prix win.
I probably signed too early.
And not helping to squash the rumours that came off the back of that was a very amused Max Verstappen at the press conference with Carlos Sainz.
Checo, can you clarify your contract situation for next year? Because after the race you seem to say something like, I signed too early. Was it a reference to your contract?
Yeah, I meant about the bottle of champagne.
What this does mean, though, is there is no seat in the immediate future for Pierre Gasly at Red Bull, if there ever was the opportunity for there to be one, which some people very much doubt. Gasly obviously struggled in his first stint at the Red Bull team and didn't pull any punches when it came to criticising the setup and the way that he felt he'd been treated, being demoted back to what was then Toro Rosso. But despite that sort of friction that came between the two teams, Pierre, Helmut Marko, Christian Horner, both sets of parties involved were basically saying that the door was open, was ajar for Gasly, but Sergio Perez has fully slammed that shut, and he now finds himself in a championship battle, while Pierre Gasly has only scored points in 2 of the opening 7 rounds of the 2022 season, and is his stock amongst the paddock slowly and steadily decreasing. So what are the options now for Pierre Gasly? They seem to be running out by the minute. Let's take a look at some of the most commonly rumoured ones. The first one, obviously, is McLaren. So Daniel Ricciardo and Zak Brown caused a bit of confusion quite recently with some comments they made about his contract with McLaren. Everyone assuming that he was pretty much locked down until the end of next season. He seemed to hint that he was going to have contract talks again in the summer break for next year, which he sort of brushed aside, which is unlike Daniel Ricciardo. So perhaps there was a bit of lack of clarity in the first contract that he signed. And obviously he is really struggling to deliver on what promised to be a really positive and prosperous relationship between Daniel Ricciardo and McLaren. But now Lando Norris is securely in position to be the team lead for that team. And even if Ricciardo was to go, I think Pierre's options there are pretty limited. McLaren obviously have Arrows McLaren. They've recently signed Carlton Herta to their development program. And Pato Ward has not been shy at all of making his interest known and moving across from IndyCar to Formula One. And a big pull for Zak Brown, in my opinion. Obviously, he's a North American himself. He's a massive marketeer. That's where he made his money. That's where he managed to navigate himself into that position at McLaren. And with the growth that Formula One is seeing now in the United States of America, a real big opportunity for whichever team can put an American driver in their car first to capture that audience, and they will be almost certainly North America's second choice after the Haas team and Sergio Perez. But the United States of America are going to gravitate massively towards Pato Ward or Carlton Herta if they come in, not even to mention some of the other junior drivers that McLaren have. So I'm not so sure that there really is a viable opportunity there for Pierre Gasly. Another one which people have touched on is Mercedes. A potential landing spot for Pierre Gasly should Lewis Hamilton retire in the next couple of seasons. And that is the critical thing here about why I think that's going to be a difficult move for the Frenchman as well. That would need to time very nicely with Lewis Hamilton hanging up his boots, him being available or available to be bought out of his AlphaTauri Red Bull contract. And let's be honest, the way that Mercedes have started this season, I think Lewis Hamilton is going to want to hang around perhaps a little bit longer than he would have intended had they been able to deliver him a World Championship car, which they've not been able to do this season. Is he going to want to walk away in the next 1-2 years as Pierre becomes available? Or is he going to want to stick around to really make sure that he can take on that potential record-breaking 8th World Drivers' Championship? And also, similar to McLaren, you've got Nick de Vries, you've got Stoffel Van Dorn and Esteban Ocon, all in the wings waiting for their own shot at the Mercedes seat once Lewis Hamilton decides to vacate it. So that's going to be really difficult for Pierre as well. Ocon landing in that seat might open up a window for him at Alpine. Obviously, the French connection there would be the perfect French exchange for Alpine, Mercedes, Gasly and Ocon. All of them probably landing somewhere that they would be quite happy in. But even when Gasly had been rumoured to be leaving the Red Bull program in the past, or even during the Renault days, Gasly wasn't really tied to any of those rumours when seats were shuffling around there. So I don't think there's a particular level of interest from the Alpine group as it stands at the moment, which is not great for Pierre either. The only other one that I think potentially could have some legs is that Mick Schumacher seat at Haas. I love Mick Schumacher. Everyone loves Mick Schumacher. Everybody wants him to do well, but questions are being asked and being asked loudly and more frequently as he keeps spinning this car into the wall, failing to score points for that team. He's not really helping them progress from backfield marker to potential podium sitters or even race winners. And if you look at what Kevin Magnussen has done since coming back in after a year away from Formula One, could Pierre Gasly slide into that seat and make a move there? Realistically, Ferrari aren't necessarily going to want Haas to get rid of Mick Schumacher quite so soon. They've got their driver academy, and Haas is almost a bit of a breeding ground with that engine supplier contract for them to have a look at drivers before they come through. But I don't really see that happening either. Pierre has said that he doesn't want to be fighting for top 10s, top 5s anymore. He wants a championship winning team, a podium sitting team. That doesn't sit with Haas. Would he take a step, what is at the moment a step down to Haas to stay in Formula One? I don't know if he would. Formula E and IndyCar obviously are very popular options now for people leaving Formula One, and that could be another area where Pierre sees himself fitting in. But what I would say is if he looks at Alonso, Albon and Magnussen, a no to Formula One in the immediate future doesn't mean a no to Formula One future, full stop. I think the biggest challenge is that those guys are the exception to the rule. Once you leave Formula One, very few people come back, and very few people come back to bigger and better things. So it's going to be a difficult period for Pierre. He can't stay at AlphaTauri as a team lead forever. That is the breeding ground for Red Bull Racing, and if they don't want him in that seat, he's not going to get a chance to stick around too much longer there. So let me know what you think in the comments. Is there a viable option for Pierre Gasly in any of the current teams? Future teams maybe coming into Formula One, Audi, Porsche, Andretti. Maybe there's an opportunity there. Should he go elsewhere to a different series? Or should he maybe just stick around and fall further and further back down the grid just to stay in Formula One? Let me know what you think in the comments. Follow me on YouTube, TikTok, all the links, all that good stuff is below. Yeah, let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you on the next one.